Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 87 of the Double Cross Anime Podcast. I'm Whooper, and here's Mario.
Hello.
Volume 3 of Oyasumi Punpun is what we'll be talking about today. Nothing else.
Yep.
Anime sucks. Just kidding. I started a new job, and I'm totally out of sorts. But maybe I'll get back into the swing of things soon. Until then, we are still going to talk about anime, though. We got episode 18 of Chihaya Furu, episode 7 of Magia Record and ID Invaded, and then Eizouken, number 6, halfway through its one and only core, most likely. I didn't take a lot of notes this week, so I'm going to need some help figuring out what happened, remembering all that stuff. Mario, start helping me now, please. I don't know what's going on. Where should we start?
All right. Let's just start like in the order that you just mentioned. I think you mentioned Chihaya Furu first, I think.
I did. Episode
Alright.
18, yes, sir.
So we got like another episode of the Queen and King match. Which
Yes.
I must say though that the second match, the second Queen match, was pretty short. It was over like I think in just a few minutes.
Well, welcome to season 3 of Chihaya Furu, where everything's made up and the card differential doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I think we have this conversation before, but like this season of Chihaya Furu have focused more I think outside of the of the matches, so they focus more on the characters rather than when they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I think it's more that like there's no team tournament in this season. It's all singles, and there are a lot of matches where none of the three main characters are involved.
Yep.
So the show's perspective is not as narrowed in on the Karuta matches. Which I get. I mean, I had that realization last week, and it's not as though it's a major epiphany or anything, but it did kind of explain to me why they're taking the approach that they are. And in this episode, I mean, it was pretty obvious that Shinobu was going to lose because of what happened last week.
Yep.
Her getting the news from her mother that her grandma only sees her as a human shaped billboard, basically, to prop up her. What is it that she's wearing? Yukata?
Kimonos?
Oh, kimono, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know the difference between all that stuff, like kimono, yukata, hakata.
Right, kimono is the most expensive. Right, that's the only thing that I know.
Well, she's definitely wearing something expensive looking.
Yep.
All those flowers all over it and stuff, and the big flappy sleeves. But there is a visual metaphor here, I think Chihaya offered her some Tatsuki in the previous episode.
Yep.
And Shinobu was kind of in her own little world and ran out of the room when she heard that Chihaya went on that class trip.
Yep.
But in this one, after losing the second match, and going into the third, she does accept the Tatsuki, and Tatsuki quite literally support you, because you're wearing something heavy and free flowing, and if you need your movements to be a little sharper, the Tatsuki help to support what you are wearing and support you as a Karuta player, and that's what Chihaya provides for Shinobu. So it's clear that something changes between match 2 and 3 because Shinobu allows that support to be given to her.
Yep.
And even though I just watched the episode, I don't remember what realization she comes to. Do you?
I think she just sort of realized that she didn't have a connection to her cast in the second match, and all she wanted to like make a connection to them in the last final match.
Right. Yeah, and that's always her MO.
Yeah.
She's always taking the cards because she feels connected to the players or the poets.
Yep. To the point that she like putting I think she arranging her cast based on the act of the poets of the cast.
Right. Yeah, she's such a little fangirl.
Yep.
Just like the card girl who's doing the display board for her.
Right.
They're a perfect match, dude.
Yep.
Because
But
the card girl's a fan of Shinobu, and Shinobu's a fan of the Hyakunin Ishu, or whatever the title for the poets who wrote those poems is.
yep. Talking about her grandmother, we have like a book and shot of like she checking on the television and still waiting for the match, for the Queen match to happen. She didn't know that it's not on live this year.
Which one are you talking about? Because we actually get two scenes.
Yeah.
Like
So
that. Did you just say bookend?
bookend? Yeah. I
Okay,
think that,
yeah.
that was the same person. That was her grandmom's.
I actually think that one was Shinobu's grandmother and one was a relative of Suo. I think there were two different people.
All right. I haven't really noticed that.
Because we've seen him on the phone talking to people and stuff.
Yep.
Last week he was trying to give instructions to someone who sounded elderly.
Yep.
Like trying to help her figure out how her internet works or her TV works or something like that.
Right. Yep.
And in this one, we hear him get through to someone, but it's not someone quite as old as I would have expected. So maybe he was calling a different member of his family. I can't remember. How did their conversation go exactly? Like the guy on the phone was laughing.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Man, these are the kind of details that you only remember if you write them down. Why didn't I do that?
No, it's your fault, not my fault.
I mean, I'm usually the guy who writes this stuff down. You know, this time since I was watching everything last minute, I took screenshots of
Right.
of moments that I thought were important, and I put them in a folder. And I'm scrolling through them now, and of course, that moment is not included.
All right. I will tell you the moment that I do remember.
What's that?
That's come from Inokuma when she basically explained to us this week that she having a baby, so that's why this gonna be the last Queen match for her. Would
What?
make a whole lot of sense. What? How do
Dude,
you
I
know
didn't get that. I did not get that at all.
She basically talked on screen that she want her baby, her daughter, that she having right now to be like the future queen.
What the fuck? How did I miss this? Oh God, we got to end the
alright.
podcast right now. This is
I think-
embarrassing
All right,
for me.
I think she mentioned that twice.
Okay, I think I know the
So-
scene that you're talking about.
Right, but
It was when she's in the green room, right, between match 2 and 3, and she's like, there's something in her hand, like her hands are illuminated, like there's a sparkle that she kind of lets go.
Yeah. All right.
But I just
yep.
thought that was like that was meant to represent her letting go of her chance to reclaim her queen title. She was like letting that go because she wanted to focus on her children that she has right now.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that there is a shot where she like she have her hands in her belly, where when she I think when she was monologuing something.
Why am I
I
so
gonna send
dumb?
you that
Okay.
screenshot.
I have it up on my other monitor right now because I got two screens here.
Right.
She's in the green room and her son. There are those little scenes where her son is like wiggling around trying to get away from his dad, and he's like, "No, I want to stay with mommy."
Yep.
And I don't. Wait. I didn't have this much morning sickness with Aki or Jin. What? How am I so dumb? You're right. Shit. Oh my God, dude.
All right. So that the screenshot where she was like kind of touching her belly.
Dude, I literally would have written a review or the blog post about this episode not knowing that had happened. What the fuck? Okay, I gotta
Alright,
stop swearing so much. I'm sorry.
That's just a small little detail though. So I
How is that? Oh God.
because we do have a lot of other things going on in this episodes.
Do we? I mean, it felt like we did jump from one thing to the next pretty quickly, but yeah. Oh, I'll feel sick whether I eat or not. and they're both looking at her. During the match, I felt so light. It didn't seem. They never say the word pregnant, right? If they said the word pregnant,
They
I know that even
no
my
they
dumbass would have figured it out.
they didn't say, but they mentioned something about she know that the child is gonna be a girl, and she wanted that child to be a future queen. So I think that scene happened just after the one that you just mentioned. I think
Okay,
like during the
I'm gonna
match.
rewatch this entire episode later. Okay,
But
yeah. So she's pregnant. I mean, good for her, I guess. If that's something that she and her husband wanted,
ye- w-
that's nice.
well, I thought that a bit too many.
What, three kids?
Three, yeah.
I
It's
mean, it is.
especially now that she wanted to be back in her games, and
Eh.
she could wait for a few years.
Well, I mean, actually, that kind of reminds me of what I was talking about before. That scene where she's lying down, after
Right.
the second match, and she has her hands kind of clasped together, and I
Yep.
perhaps at this point she's thinking about her child. I don't know, but there's her head. The show kind of, I guess, animates or illustrates her in such a way that her hands are illuminated from the inside, like there's some sort of light that she's
Mm.
keeping clasped between her hands, and then she opens her palms and lets it go.
Yep.
I think that was supposed to symbolize like her chances of becoming the queen once again, or perhaps like this newfound passion for karate that she had recently um, regained. She's letting that go again.
Mhm.
So I think she's probably committed to the kid rather than the game.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
So I'm sure whether it's the best time, like whether it's the perfect time or not. I think it's still probably a good time. I think she's
All
accepted
right. I
the
yeah.
timing.
I just feel that like the two boys are still at very young age.
Well,
Uh,
one Jean is, yes, or if that's the younger one. The younger one is definitely still very young. She didn't space those two out very far, but
yeah. So that's gonna be hard for her. That just
well,
that's just my concerns.
just having a kid is hard.
I know, and to have three of them. At
I mean,
the
how many
age that's-
siblings? How many siblings did you have?
All right. At the age that's still to have to take care of all of them. I would say like after 4 to 5 years old, that would be she will get more time. She wouldn't get that much busier. But like these three kids are around. I think the oldest is like 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah.
and the second one is like still young enough to be breastfeed. So like I think a year.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep. So
maybe her husband is just extremely virile. Maybe he's like a stud, and he just she
all right.
she just gets knocked up. Like whether she wants to or not, it's just happening.
Yep. All right. We still have like
What am I
the
saying
match.
right now?
We still have like the king match.
Did that match even really matter in this episode?
All right. It apparently more important in the context of the show than than we are. I'm more about the queen match, but I think
Well,
like
so
all
is the
attention-
broadcast of the match. It's just
Yeah.
the queen match on screen, probably because they want to show off Shinobu's kimono.
All right.
For real, like that's a big reason why her grandmother is helping to support.
Yep.
Her grandmother's probably supporting the broadcast in some way, or like the Karate organization. I don't know, because it's a platform for her to show off her stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. What about the Meijin match?
All right. First is that Shuo lost the first two games. I think it was like some part of his intention to lose as well. So he want to put himself in the corner in order to challenge himself, I think.
Well, he originally he wanted the card count to be the same as the queen match, And then at the end of episode whatever the last one was, 17, I guess it was
That's
when he
right,
said
I
this.
think.
The reason he thought that the reason that he lost was, or he said that he thought to himself that the reason that he lost was he wanted to sit here a little while longer.
Yep.
Because this is going to be his last. If he wins and he becomes Eternal Meijin, this will be his last time competing at Omijingu. So he wanted to sit there a little while longer. So I guess I can believe that that's why he lost the second match too. But there was less emphasis on whatever tricks he was playing in match 2.
And we didn't get much to see about the match 2 and even match 3 where he basically smashed. I think he won like 17 casts or something. So like
it was huge.
Wild machines. Yep. We didn't know much about that as well, but I think the emphasis is on the 4th match, in which Harada Sensei actually used the trick.
What?
Alright,
Taking advantage of his bad eyesight?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So he put the cat on the edge of the formulas.
Yes.
I
See, his Suo's bad eyesight is actually when I read ahead in the manga, like years ago, that is actually a detail I remembered very keenly. That Suo's eyesight is bad. It's poor on the edges of his vision. And I was waiting for the show to really like lean into that. I was wondering when it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And now it finally has, so I don't have to be quiet about it anymore.
So that match gonna be interesting. I don't know if the 5th match, if they're gonna be the 5th match, gonna be that important. Like they're gonna take time to take that match. But I think that the format's gonna be like this deciding match of who gonna win the Meiji.
Well, I mean, if Harada wins, it is the deciding match because he's won 3 out of 5.
Yep. And I reckon that if he lose, he doesn't have like the fitness to compete 100% in the 5th match. So he gonna lose.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's what I reckon. Anyway.
That sounds right. Even in this episode, we see him lying down.
Yep.
We always do. The show is always emphasizing.
Yep.
His physical condition compared to the younger, more spry competitors who he's managed to beat up until this point. But obviously, the Meijin's going to be a different story.
Yep. All right. So which match do you more excited to watch? The Queen match or the Meiji match?
The Queen match.
Me too.
I think Shinobu and Inokuma are both better characters than the two guys.
Yep, agree. And they even more, more in the same level, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they're both former queens.
Yep. Former and current queen, yep.
Oh yes. They both have been or are presently queens.
Yep.
Yeah, although I mean, I just think both Suo and Shinobu will hang on to their titles. Pretty sure.
Yep, I do think so as well. All right.
We'll find out.
Yep. Let's move on to the next shows.
All right, what's that gonna be?
Is that ID Invaded that you mentioned?
What do you mean, after Chihaya?
Yeah, after Chihaya.
It was Magia Record.
All right, let's go with Magia Record.
Oh no. I just watched this like an hour ago or something, or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And dude, I can't tell you what's going on. I'm lost. I'm honestly lost. I think that the character designs are great. I really did. When I first saw Madoka, I thought that the character designs were so refreshing.
Right.
And I think the backgrounds, I thought a lot of the background art in this episode was even a step up from what we've seen in the past. Like,
yep.
Somehow and the action Dude, like Kyoko fighting with her extendable spear with the chain inside.
Yep.
I thought some of the action was like just specific cuts were like really nicely animated. I wanted to like clap as I was
Yep.
watching, like just bravo, man, bravo. But there's no thread connecting all of it together for me.
Right.
What the hell is going on? Wings of Magius and like Holy Lucky Owl Water and
Yep.
Kyoko showing up randomly and affiliating herself with this group of girls that we still don't know their true aim, and like why are they setting witches on the other girls if their aim is to destroy all witches? Eh,
Yep.
I'm lost.
I don't think we supposed to know the answer yet.
I don't think the show knows.
I I I also do you know that like the first half of the episode they doesn't do and they didn't mention anything about the count, the lucky count, and then like
Uh,
when Iroha like step up in, I think like in the last 5 minutes they do the count again.
yeah, I mean, I did notice the numbers counting down towards the end, and
Yep.
not throughout the beginning.
Yep. So
Um,
I just know for a fact that her her count it reached zero. So
yeah,
that's gonna be like in the next episode she gonna meet a lot of misfortune, which we don't know what's gonna happen to her either.
is she really gonna meet a lot of misfortune? I mean, the ending of the episode was like, oh, let's all go over to my house and you can stay with me.
Yeah,
Like,
I do think that the last lucky thing that she got was the house. She got the house that she can basically have all the friends living there now, having a family stuff. That's the last thing, the last lucky thing that she got.
I don't get it. I kind of feel as though the show, like the point that the show was making was the opposite. Like, even though it's
Really?
counted all the way down to zero, it's not this silly magical water that determines like the course of your life.
Huh. All right.
It's it's the fact that you have these people who are looking out for you and who care about you. That's what's important. And the fact that it because it think if you think about it over the course of the episode, the countdown is relegated to a very small part of it. Like it's not a significant part of the whole thing, like the whole 22 minutes or however long the episode is.
I agree.
It's not something that's being stretched out over the course of the entire thing, and we're meant to keep our attention on it and think, oh no, it's reached zero. This is huge. It just kind of happens at the end, and it's happening while things are back on the upswing for Felicia, and her friends are comforting her after she's done, doing battle against all the witches in that other realm. I
Mhm.
think the show might even be done with that whole plot. And that's part of
Uh,
why I feel as though the story is not really coming together for me, because I don't know, like the original Madoka just strung everything together so nicely,
yep.
in terms of its tragic structure. This one does not have that, and it doesn't necessarily need to adhere to a certain genre. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom all the time. But I would like there to be something for me to hold on to as I watch the whole thing, and not just like 2 or 3 episodes at a time that are talking about a specific item from a game or something.
Yep. Well, I still think that the misfortune gonna take its effect next week, which we're gonna see next week on the next episodes. Um, what do you take on the character Mifuyu? Like she reappears, and she apparently is like the one of the member of the wings of Magias.
Dude, I didn't even remember who Mifuyu
All right.
was. Who is that?
All right, that's the girl. That's the white hair girl who
Yeah.
used to be on the same team with Q. Oh no, not Kyoko.
Yachio?
Yeah, Yachio and the red girl Sukuyo, I think. And
Let me see here.
Shuruno.
Yeah, Tsuruno and Yachio. Yeah.
Yep. So Yachio think about recall her on the on the thingy last few episodes ago. That's right.
Huh?
Remember, like on the strike where they can recall one of the lost people, where where Iroha call for Ui, and Yachio call for one of the girl, and that was Mifuru.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what you're talking about.
All right.
Like I said, this show has lost me.
Yep. That's alright. Nah, I remember like the last two episodes where they
No.
go to the strike.
I don't remember the last two episodes.
All right.
I remember them going to some sort of weird like warehouse thing or like
No, that was
waste
before
management. You're talking about something even before that.
that. Yep.
Okay, in that case, I definitely will not remember.
They went to the strike. They are given the ability to call the one of the lost person, and Yachio call for this girl.
I'm telling
That-
you. I mean, you.
Turn
I
out to be
wouldn't-
the fake. No.
I don't, dude. I don't remember that. Like, I know
Alright.
you're like trying to explain it to me, but you should just give up.
All right. Let's just move on. So I don't know what the deal with be for you now when she happened to be alive and well now.
So this girl is supposed to be dead.
She's supposed to be dead.
Okay, and she's alive, and she's part of the Wings of Magius.
Yep.
So obviously, the Wings of Magius, they're being set up as the antagonists. And they say at one point those two twin girls with kind of the purple hair,
Yep.
who are walking them through those darkened rooms with like the kind of Grecian pillars
Yep.
in the center. They're walking them through, and they're like, You should join the rumors."
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that line of dialogue? You should
Yep.
join the rumors. And it was they only threw it out once. But I guess we've been talking about the rumors, I think, in past discussions about this show. That are they witches that the girls are fighting, or are they rumors, or what exactly? Who exactly are these villain of the week,
Mm-hmm.
Gekudan Inukuri weird thingies that they're fighting? And I guess some of them have been rumors. And now the Wings of Magius are allied with them, which is bad because the rumors are bad. Dude, I don't know. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, at this point,
Waiting for you
I-
to say something.
I feel the same. I feel like I don't really care about the main plot, and even like those like those side quests that we've seen so far had not been really compelling.
Yeah, they are kind of like side quests. This just feels like a game. I mean, the end of every episode is an image of a bunch of the girls from the game with a thing that says, Magia Record available on the App Store. Is that? I mean,
Alright.
have you noticed that? Oh, you
No, I
usually
don't.
skip the. Okay, there was a post-credit scene in this episode. Did you see it?
Oh, I didn't actually.
Dude, watch
Is that
watch the OP
important?
and ED. sometimes the OP changes. Like Chihayafuru, the OP is different now.
Oh, is it?
The song is the same, but the graphic, the animation, I suppose, although it's mostly reused footage, is different. In this episode, the ED I feel was slightly different, and there was something afterwards,
All right.
but it was
Oh,
just them at the house that you were
Yeah.
talking about.
There's like the mysterious message
Oh,
That-
yeah.
that asks
Did-
for help. All right,
Did
so
you
I
see
did.
it?
I
Okay,
did. I
yeah,
did.
on the cell phone because I guess they're unpacking their things in the house. They're bringing in boxes, and on
Yep.
top of one of the boxes is a phone, and it says, "Can you help me?"
Yep.
Yeah, but if you keep watching after that, when it plays the little snippet of the ED with the still on the screen like a promotional image.
All right.
If you keep watching past that, the very last image, and it has been this way for every episode so far, is like, "Oh, now available on the App Store, Magia Record, blah blah blah, buy our shit."
I All right. I think I gonna download the apps now that all the promotion.
I mean, anime told me to.
All right. One last question I have. Before
I don't
we
remember is the answer.
we move on to the next shows. Um, so we have Mami, we have Kyoko. Do you think that they're gonna have like any of the old characters, or
Yeah,
those old characters?
I'm almost positive that the other three will show up at some point.
All right. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's just a cash. It's just a cash grab. This whole thing is just like some silly tie-in
Uh,
with some nice art. So at least we get that. We should be happy that at least that part of it
Yep.
is cool.
yep, that's true.
Um,
All right.
Yeah, dude. I will. I will prepare better. I promise. Next week, I'll take the notes But this show. But even putting my lack of preparedness for this episode of the podcast in general aside, I do
Yep.
think that this series is extraordinarily hard to follow and hard to care about. Like this one in particular.
All right. It's not that hard to follow. I mean, like it still makes sense. It just doesn't give us any reason to care about.
How does it make sense?
Well,
I don't get it at all. Like the Wings of Magius are the bad guys, and it's like okay.
I think they're supposed to like revolutionize like all the whole thing. So in order
How
to
about
do that, they have to kill all the witches,
but they're
and
using witches to fight the girls.
they're using witches to fight the girl. I think that's just like one of the quote from the twin, not like the entire um cult group does that. I'm not really sure about that.
Do you remember when the show was about finding Iroha's sister?
Yep, yep.
What happened to that?
I think that's gonna be in the next episodes.
A likely story.
All right. So we move on to
ID invaded.
All right. Yep. ID
Yeah,
invaded.
exactly. Yeah, you have it right. Edo invaded. This one I actually took notes on,
Huh.
but
Good.
I also watched it like 6 days ago or something. So
Right. So this one is the first time where we get into the mind of our main character Kaido.
yeah,
I don't think that his real name is Kaido, but we just call it Kaido.
his real name is Nari Hisago.
All right.
So he has a different name as the brilliant detective. It's Sakaido, and it's similar for Hondomachi, whose name
Yep.
is Hijiriro Mio.
All right.
But we can just call them Sakaido, that's fine, and Hondomachi, that's fine. Like regardless of what version of themselves they are.
Right. And yeah, and this episode we got that girl Hondomachi go inside the mind of Sakaido's.
Yes.
Makes sense of it all.
She does kind of make sense of it. Actually, I think that this one was kind of carried, but she figures out the whole thing with the lightning flashes,
Yep.
like the timing of it. But the guys on the outside, the analysts in the like standing around the well or whatever, that control room kind of. One of them figures out that like the numbers that are being hit by the lightning strike correspond to some segment of the pi sequence,
Yep.
which I thought was like the worst thing ever.
I do think that everything, not everything, like in act, in movies, in anime, that kind of obsessed with the pi numbers. Like it like the representative of a randoms but not so random things.
Right. Yeah. The fact that pi goes on forever and never repeats
Yep.
is kind of like a mathematical mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And because everyone learns about pi in school, and it's one of the problems that mathematicians are most attracted to. It's obviously, it's also one of the ones that appears most often in popular culture, because it's kind of easy for people to get their heads around. Oh, this is like some crazy math thing, you know.
Yep.
I mean, the connection between mathematics and the natural world actually runs much more deeply than that. But pi is an obvious one, you know. But it's also kind of groan worthy, you know. Like when you heard him say all that stuff about pi and like, oh, it's, you know,
That's cool.
yeah. I mean,
Impressive.
is that what you're thinking, or are you thinking again?
Nah.
Yeah, you're
I
thinking
was
like,
thinking
what?
like, oh,
This is like the 50th time this year that I've seen this.
I just thinking that this show just trying to sound smart. It's always trying to sound smart, like from the very first episodes.
Uh,
Um,
I I kind of get some of that, but the pie thing is the first time that I've thought, wow, this is really dumb.
all right, but yeah. So she kind of figure out like the way to save the people, but like her interest in all that thing is to like solve the mystery, not to save the all the people there. So that run quite the opposite with Sakaidos
Does it?
that we have seen so far. Like I remember like in one particular episode, Sakaido really want to save the girls. You know, like in the when
The one
she
where everything is burning, right?
yeah, that's right.
Like
Yep.
the industrial looking city. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I do think you're right actually. Perhaps it seems like a lot of the detective's personality is stripped away when they become the brilliant detective, or I should say the police's, just whenever you enter the well, somewhat subconscious, a lot of your personality is stripped away. Because I think your personality is informed a lot by your memory, and they lose their memory. But yeah, you bring up a good point. Sakaido is more compassionate, I think, than we've seen. I mean, we've only seen Hondomachi become the brilliant detective once,
Yep.
but the show has made a point of the fact that she is a little bit twisted.
Right.
You have to be in order to be a brilliant detective, but she's like willing to literally endanger her own life in a very brutal way, in order to catch Fukuda, or whatever his name is, in episode 1.
Yep.
And then she sets up like a particular murder of what's his face?
Oh right.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
The gravedigger, or who we assumed was the gravedigger,
Yep.
in episode 5. So she's supposed to be that sort of like very, I guess, ruthless or like tactical person. And we see that here as well. Go ahead.
And yeah. What all right. We got like another a plot thread regarding the main guy, one of the Momoki. So one of the guy in the investigation, was
Yeah,
framed
he's some.
as John Walker.
Was he framed, or
No,
is he
he
really
was
John
framed.
Walker?
I don't think that he is John Walker. Do you think that he's John Walker? I don't think so.
I don't think he is either, but that's only because in detective fiction, the person against whom all the evidence is stacked is usually innocent.
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
up to, the brilliant detective, not in the context of Ito Invaded, but just the main character in a detective story. They have to exonerate the person who seems to be guilty, and find the real criminal.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, Momoki, when he's being detained in the analysis room, and when he's being led away, he doesn't protest very much. We don't hear him saying, "I'm innocent, I didn't do this." Like, And I
Yeah.
wonder why that is.
Yeah. Well, I think he's just like in the middle of something. He's just in the middle of Hondomachi going into the well of his best friends. So he kind of concerned about that rather than the real situation where he being framed. Um,
I don't know. I
I
feel like if you're being put in handcuffs and like wrestled to the ground and being led out of a room, being humiliated in front of all your coworkers and subordinates, and it seems like your life is about to go to hell,
mm,
you might start thinking about yourself for a little bit and saying, if you're innocent, I did
yeah,
not do this.
yeah. Well,
I think he says that only one time. It might have even been zero.
well, I yeah, I think I still think that he innocent. He been framed by someone.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I just wonder what the deal was. Like
Right.
I think his involvement is actually he is somewhat involved. Like
Yeah.
he may know who John Walker is or be acquaintances with him or something. Because like there was that skeleton buried on his property
Yeah.
of the guy who created. And I mean, I think that it seemed a little weird to me that that Momoki plot was in this episode. The two things, like Hondomachi being inside Sakaido's
Mm,
subconscious and the Momoki thing, seemed to. I mean, they were very distinct stories.
mm.
But I think there is a tie between them, and I think it's that Hondomachi finds another. What was it called? There was a name that the show had for it, and I wrote it down.
All right.
The kind of machine that you sit in order to go into someone's subconscious. Where did I write it?
All right. Right. I have no idea what's that
Mi-
name. I know what you mean though.
Mizu Hanome.
All right.
The Mizu Hanome, I think. No, I'm sorry. Cockpit. It's called the cockpit. The
All right.
Mizu Hanome is it means the well.
Mm,
So the guy who invented the cockpit in order to access people's subconscious, it's his corpse that's buried on Momoki's property,
yep.
and that very device is what Hondomachi finds in Sakaido's subconscious, which is somehow connected to his present. We
Mm-hmm.
know this because of the whole pie thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's somehow his subconscious is tracking with the present and knows how long it's been since his
Hold on.
daughter
Hold
was
on. Hold on.
murdered.
Hold on. It's linked to his present, but I think like you remember they have the name in there. That's the
Uh,
name of the last victim of where Momoki saved.
the name in where that who is they and
All
who is
right.
where
All
they
right.
have the name in there.
The cockpit they have like uh the name written in the cockpit.
I,
That
I
that
don't I don't think I remember what you're talking about.
that's name is Kiki. Kiki was the last victim where um uh all right, remember where damn it, remember where Sakaido killed the guy. I think he's the challenger, shot him.
Yes.
And then Momoki saved the last victim of from the challenger.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yes.
so that cockpit have her name in there.
Which
So
one? The one that's inside his subconscious?
the one inside his subconscious. That's right.
Okay. So Hondomachi found her name.
Yep.
Okay. That I forgot.
So she found the cockpit, and the cockpit have her name in there. So I think it belonged to her. That's all I'm getting at. It belonged to the last victim named Kiki.
Okay. I mean that's what we're gonna see next week. She's obviously gonna sit in
Right.
that thing and be zapped into someone else's subconscious. But
That's
how
right.
can his mind be linked to hers? Did he eat her brain,
Have
or what?
have no idea.
Like what's the deal there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's all subconscious. And one other interesting thing that I found in this episode is like all the killers, on all these killers from last episode, they're actually gathering in the same spot.
Well, not by their choice. They're put in cells. They're just in the same block.
Yeah, that's right. But I remember that girl. Uh,
Inami,
yeah.
the
Well,
real grave digger. Yeah.
yeah, yep. He mentioned that he requested to be like in front of that guy.
Oh, Fukuda wanted to be near Sakaido or
No, no, no.
whatever that.
So sorry, the guy who have the hole in his head.
Yeah, that's what's his face. I can't. His name starts with an F. It's like Furuda or Fukuda or something.
Yep. So
Fukura. I don't know.
sorry, bad with name. So yeah, I just wonder why like all the killers keep reappearing. So I think like they have some spy for the plot in the future.
I mean, my theory last time was that the green-haired guy with the hole was John Walker.
Yep.
I don't know if that's.
Let's
I don't
see.
know if that's true. Yeah, like, I also wonder why they keep showing up.
Yep.
I don't know. You know, if people's subconscious can be linked in the way that they apparently are, based on what we saw this week when Hondomachi finds the cockpit,
Hmm.
maybe the holes in people's heads are meant to link them together. It's that, dude. I don't know. This whole show's ridiculous. Why are any of the whole heads still alive? What's going on? Why is his subconscious tracking with the present? If it's particles from 3 years ago that they find at the scene of the crime, and why are lightning strikes hitting the numbers in pi that indicate whatever? At least it's cool though. Like,
All
there was-
right.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that was cool because so like all the person inside that was some kind of friends and relative, I think. And
Were
there
they?
was yeah, I think they were mentioned once that there was they have some relation to Sakaidos in real
Okay.
life, and they keep being killed like randomly as well. So
Yeah.
that was really interesting.
I just
I
thought
be-
that some of the shots were pretty cool. Like,
Right.
were some of the shots with lightning flashing.
Mm-hmm.
Like with it's a wide shot and Hondomachi's in the foreground, and her body is kind of like turned backwards so that her feet are facing one way, her head is looking back behind her, and then we kind of get a good look at the board and like the desert area behind them, and the lightning flashes.
Yep.
The colors, the color contrast suddenly gets turned way up, and
Yep.
there's a few neat looking shots in this episode, even if like the plot is goofy, and there was a lot of off model stuff I found
A bit.
in this one. Yeah, that's been going on for a while, but this episode production was not super polished, not especially well put together.
Yep.
But the show isn't like, I'm not totally lost.
Yep.
I just think everything that's going on is kind of dumb, but I can follow it, and
Yep.
I'm kind of like, all right, what's next?
I think this week dream sequence like the well remind me a bit of the episode where they were sniped by a
Right.
sniper.
The one with the waterfall,
Yeah,
like,
the
all around
waterfall.
them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It kind of remind me a bit of that.
I guess because lightning strikes from far away, so do snipers.
And like random victim as well.
Yeah. The waterfall the waterfall subconscious is actually my least favorite so far, I think.
Huh, right.
I really did like the first one. I mean, that concept of all the different parts of a landscape being broken up in someone's mind was interesting to me. Like, that's one of the big things that attracted me to this show.
Yep.
And they've only done something similar, I think, once
Mm-hmm.
since
All
then,
right.
which is fine.
Yep.
They mix it up. They keep it interesting.
That's right. All right. Let's move on to Ezoken.
Okay. Another one that I didn't take notes on, but I took some screenshots. Gonna pull those up. How many we got here? Ooh, we got 8. Okay.
All right. So this episode we got the team go to the South Club.
Yes, it is. It is focused a bit on sound design. I felt that part of the story, and I'm actually glad that that's the first thing you mentioned, because I feel like that part of the story only kicked in like around the second half.
Right.
But it was by far the most important and most memorable part of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt as though there was a bit of time kind of being filled in the first half.
Really? All right.
Yeah. A lot of the conversations that the girls were having about where they were in the production stage just felt... perhaps it was because of the way it was shot. Like they were just hanging out in their little warehouse or whatever we're calling that place.
Mm-hmm.
And talking back and forth. And just a lot of the shots of the three of them in the frame together... And not in very interesting poses, not being their usual animated selves, I felt, in terms of how they were portrayed. Just kind of talking, lightly back and forth about where they were, but then, like when, damn it, what are their names? When I don't take notes, I don't know what is going on. No, long hair, Kanamori. Yes, oh yeah, you like to call them by their first names.
Yep.
Sayaka. When she goes to the sound club,
right?
She walks through those doors, and we get that really creative looking shot of like her walking through the hallway, and the placards, like the names of the clubs, are passing by on the left hand side of the frame as she's walking underneath them, and then we get a flat shot of the hallway, and all the doors are like very colorful.
Yep.
Suddenly, the show just looks more alive. Like it feels more like there's more personality to it, and that's when I sat up and started actually paying attention to what was going on, because before that I was kind of checked out.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that in the first half there are moments that I really enjoy. Like what I think like one of my best my favorite moments in Eizouken in the entire series is when Sayaka got really tired. Like she the one who actually worked the most out of like the three girls. She had to go club to club, arranging everything, making everything like the production on time, and then she invite those two to I think to the ramen place, and she
that
said
was still in the first half.
That was in the first half, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And she said she's gonna pay for them, and then
that doesn't end up happening.
That's one of the good thing about it. It's just she end up like being her real self. So she just said like she doesn't have any money, so just you can pay for yours. Even though I say I'm gonna pay for you.
She says I make it a point never to carry more than 1,000 yen, which is like $10, $10 I mean.
But my favorite moment is when she waiting for her ramen and then she passed out because she was too tired.
Yeah, I do remember that. But then she gets right back up when the food is there.
That's right. and being her usual self. But I mean like that moment talk a lot about her characters and her commitment, because like in the first. Like let's see in the episode 1, we see how Midori and Tsubane, they are really passionate about anime, about what they do, but Sayaka doesn't know anything about anime, but she wants to make it happen as well.
Well, she sees a potential profit in it.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that as as the show goes on, she's gonna learn to appreciate anime on a deeper level, and she's bonding with her friends that she's making in the club and stuff. But the reason she was brought on board, or I guess I should say the reason that she involved herself in the whole process, was because she smelled a money making opportunity because of the idol girls' involvement.
I think she still does that. I think she still see this as like the opportunity to gain more monies. But she have been really committed, like more than any other characters in the show to actually make an anime, having a result.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see that very clearly in the past few episodes. I guess mostly like 3 and 4, where she was stressing to Asakusa and Mizusaki, or whatever their first names are.
Yep.
Like, I know you really want to get this cut absolutely perfect, and you've been working on it for a week. But guys, we're not going to make it.
Yeah.
step it up. We have to follow a certain schedule, and she's really the adult. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's why she's in charge of production, because she is able to focus on more than one thing at a time. Whereas Asakusa, like, her brain short circuits when she has to think about that sort of thing for too long. Then she just goes outside and like digs in the ground to try to find gemstones and stuff.
Yep.
You know, and that's cute.
Yeah.
We actually see Asakusa. She's the director. You know, they refer to her that way in this episode. And when she's giving instructions to the art club about the backgrounds, we see her kind of step into that role for a little bit, and it's obvious that she's not comfortable there.
Right. Well, I think I can relate to that. I can relate to how, you know, like she have that you know, vision on her mind of how everything gonna work, but everything gonna play out. But when it come to having to describe that, she stumbles, and like having everyone question about, you know, like the
Why are there no people?
Yeah,
You know?
like,
Isn't it weird that there's not even night watchmen?
yep. So like all that sort of stuff that, you know, like I think threw her off, and
Yeah.
I think that really relatable.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure, nobody likes to be questioned like that. But I mean, the girl the thing that makes that specific back and forth, like those few lines, nice, is that the girl who was asking her those questions, you know, she was
doesn't
being
even
good.
care.
Well, she was being good natured about it. Like,
Right.
she was like, "Oh, well, wouldn't it make sense for there to be a night watchman here?"
Yeah,
And then
like,
she reads the room and thinks to herself, or says out loud, "Oh, sorry, is that just not important? Don't mind me."
yeah,
You know, but even that friendly line of questioning is like kind of too much for Asakusa, because she's such a creative rather
Right.
than like a planner, you know.
Yep, that's right. I also love the fact that she having to mind it about that, so she was afraid, and she want to scratch the whole thing down and build from scratch, and that was when Sayaka told her that, you know, like, it's only the problem if you think that the problem, because you are like the director of all this. So
Yeah.
as long as you feel confident about that, everything should be fine. I love that as well. I love that sequence as well.
Yeah, some good character moments, relationship moments. As always, I think the show is usually bringing it.
Yep.
On that front. I was kind of checked out during the first half, though. Like, I don't know. I just noticed a lot of spots in which the girls stayed mostly stationary,
Right.
especially in that first scene where they weren't given kind of the same sense of like motion or enthusiasm or personality that I usually get from them, and that kind of soured me, like seeing that right off the bat. But you know, I got more involved as the episode went on.
Yep.
And I mean, watching the show and knowing the tiny bit about anime production that I know, sometimes there are cuts that just have way more attention paid to them than others. Sometimes you're just gonna get characters who are standing still for a bit and their mouths are moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the nature of anime. Like, it's hand drawn, you know, the in betweens too. It's not like Western animation where a lot of Western animation has automated in betweens. You know.
Yep. I do think that while I enjoy, you know, like the segments where they come to the sound club, it's a bit too convenient for them though. That, you know, like the sound club have like the whole, I think, is that 2 rooms of, you know, like,
didn't they say
only-
4?
or 4 rooms? Yeah, they did say that. They did
It
say
is-
like the huge amount.
Yeah. And the room is also unrealistically tall.
Right, that's right.
Like, it shouldn't be that
No.
tall. But
I love
it's
that. I love
definitely,
that actually.
yeah, me too. It's definitely convenient. I agree with that in terms of like the assembly of this giant robot anime that they're working on.
Mhm.
But Azoken is like it has its fantasy sequences, and there's also a fantasy element to the entire story. Like, how are three high school girls and an assortment of other club members from their school, who are helping out, art club, sound club, whatever. How are they realistically supposed to make anime?
Right.
Like, you can't do that just by having one business-minded girl kind of schedule everything,
Right.
and then have some little fantasy sequences where like machines that Asakusa has designed, they all get in one and they ride around in this little imaginary world with sound effects that they're making with their lips.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the anime is done. Like it. I appreciate bringing that fantastical nature sort of into the real world, which is why I like when they go into the sound room and it's like unrealistically proportioned. And also the remember when they screened the anime with the tank?
Yep.
And it drove out of the screen and like into the crowd, and it started crushing all those folding chairs and stuff. I really like that moment. I really like when the show takes the work that the girls are doing or the ideas that they have and bring them into the real world, not just halfway, into that fantasy space.
Right. Yep. So, do you feel that the show is a bit repetitive, or stumbles a bit, like after halfway point now? Or do you feel like the pacing is still right?
I wasn't wild about the start of this one. I mean, maybe I felt that it was repetitive because they were just hanging out and talking in their clubhouse.
Right.
Like we've seen them do before. But I mean, imagine that you're working in animation and so many series are just one core in length. You finish one, you move on to the next one, and you're taking a lot of meetings. Like, if there's anything Shirobako taught me, it's that everyone is in meetings all day. And you're taking a lot of the same like pre-production meetings and then meetings to sort out like what color such and such a character is going to be, and I don't know, like I feel like a little bit of repetition is probably good for this show and is good for any sort of show that's dedicated to depicting how something is made, and any sort of creative process. Like, there's going to be repetition, because if there isn't, then it's just scattershot and nothing is ever going to get done because nothing's on time.
Right.
So a little bit of repetition is okay, and I don't think the show has overstepped its bounds in that regard.
All right.
Yet.
Yep. So good. It is my like we halfway point of this season already, and this is still my number one show so far for this season. How about you?
I have not watched episode 5 of Dorohedoro yet, and episode 6 is probably coming out today. So once I watch those two, I can decide, because for me it's between this one and Dorohedoro.
All right. I don't think that the sub for episode 6 has come out yet, but yep.
Anon usually puts it up on Sunday, so I think it'll come out later today. It's Sunday morning for me.
Right.
He usually puts it out your Monday morning, I guess.
Yep. I enjoyed Dorohedoro as well. Just episode 6 have already been available.
Okay. Yeah. Anon is it Anon's?
Anon, yep. And Judas.
Yeah. Judas always re-encodes. He puts Anon subs on a better, like, he reduces the file size and keeps the file quality mostly the same.
Right. Yeah, the only thing that I got problem with Anon is the file size too big for me.
Okay. I always download 1080p from Horrible Subs, which is like 1.5 gigs. It's bloated for sure. Like, it does not need all that space. It's just that big because of the way that they rip it, I think, directly from all the streaming sites.
1.5 gigs, you say?
Yeah, for the 1080p.
Jeez.
Like, for example, if I pull up, let me pull up my folder right here. This is going to take me about 5 seconds. The episode of Azoken we were just talking. I usually watch GJM subs for Azoken, but it was not ready on time this week. Yeah, the subs for Azoken, 1.48 gigs.
Jeez.
for the 1080p. But I have a big monitor, so I want the best.
Right.
Most anime are actually mastered in 720p or like 810p. There's not a lot of true 1080p anime. A lot of it is upscaled.
Right.
So 720 is actually fine, but I don't know. I just do 1080 because why not?
Yeah. Okay, back to the topic. I still
Yeah, that's
enjoy,
a good idea. Back to the topic.
I still enjoy Dorohedoro. Just just to make sense of all that, of all the hell that's been going on. It's just so weird. Like I can say that for a show that halfway point, I still find it very, very weird. That don't know what to expect. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's like Magia Record, except the characters make you actually want to keep watching.
Well, well, I don't see any connection at all with Magia Record.
Well, just the
a
general
whole
weirdness and being like,
other
what's
levels.
happening right now?
All right.
Yeah, I like Dora. But yeah, Eizouken for sure. One of my top two.
Yeah.
Potentially my favorite, depending on what the next two episodes of the other show are like. It's
I
nice.
I also enjoy Kyoko Suri. The last few episodes have been dragged a bit, too long,
I
too
see.
much talking, but still enjoying it. I think this season have offered a lot of show that I enjoy, like medium range. So I enjoy this season quite a bit.
It's pretty much just Eizouken and Dorohedoro for me, honestly.
Right.
In terms of
Alright.
stuff that I'm gonna be thinking of, at the end of the year, what were my 10 favorites? What were my 15 favorites? I think it's probably just gonna be those two.
Yep. All right.
Looking forward to next season.
Yep.
So how about Punpun? Are we ready for that or?
Oregairu 3 gonna be for next season. I'm looking forward
Yes,
to that.
yes. I know. I mean, a lot of people on our site probably are because it got
Yep.
a significant amount of votes, but it didn't make the top 50.
It didn't. All right.
Thank goodness.
It's a very happy place in my heart. That's good enough.
Oh, yeah, there you go, man. Confidence.
All right. Punpun.
Volume 3, chapters I think 24 to 34, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
So we first we get some of the I think a chapter regarding Punpun childhood friends. I think I
Right.
think the two guys Seki and Shimizu.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't know how they're gonna be important in the future though.
Well, the show is definitely keeping them in view, and it uses kind of a trick between chapter 24 and 25. Like
Yep.
we get the story about Shimizu and Seki, and then it zooms out as the two of them are walking down the street. It zooms out, and there
Punpun.
we see Aiko. Well, first we see Aiko and Yaguchi,
All right. Yeah.
or Yaguchi, however you want to say it, and then Punpun is behind them. So the manga connects the end of volume 23 and the beginning of volume 25. Like it inserts 24 in there pretty cleverly, I think. Just that
Right.
perspective trick where it keeps moving backwards down the street and puts all the characters in the frame together.
Yep.
Yeah, that was an interesting little chapter.
Yep.
Shimizu can still see the god of poop.
Yep. That's the thing that I take as well.
But he lies and says that he can't.
All right. Do you feel the design of the god of poof remind me of something?
Does it remind me of something?
Remind you of something? If you have read that manga already, I'm not sure.
I have read very little manga. This is only like the 20th manga or so that I've ever even picked up.
All right. It remind me of 20th Century Boys.
I actually did read about half of 20th Century Boys.
About I think the code or something. They have like that shot of the same image. It's not that the proof, but
Yeah, I
it
think
reminds me
what
strongly
you're
of
remembering is probably the robe.
the rope.
What is the name of the cult, like the cult leader in 20th Century Boys? Isn't he just
Right,
called
me.
Friend? Don't they just call him Friend?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And he have like that sort of
He wears the mask with like the hand with the eye on it, right?
yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I really liked 20th Century Boys at the start. It just dragged on a little bit too much for me.
It's a really good one. I
I
think
I,
I
en- I enjoyed what I read. I just fell off for whatever reason, but yeah,
yeah.
Urusawa is great. I'm actually watching Master Keaton right now, which is a series that he did the
Mhm.
art for and some of the story.
Yep. Yeah. Is that Master Keaton got is like case to case, or is that like
Yes,
right?
definitely an episodic series, but in a good way.
Right.
Um, every episode is entertaining, and they're all very different from each other too. It's good. It's a good
Huh.
series.
Right. Is that like drama, or is that like
Yes, for
uh,
the most part. Actually, I would get too off topic if I started talking about it, but he's not a policeman, but it is a crime drama. But every once in a while, there's just an episode about his personal life, like something in his personal life. It's
right?
good. I recommend it. The audio quality is terrible. There are no
Huh.
nice looking copies of that show on the internet. But
Right.
sorry, did I say audio? I meant video.
You made video,
I
so
meant video. Yeah,
all right,
it
all
looks
right.
bad
It's look bad. All right.
because of the
Huh.
files. But anyways,
Understand. All right. Back to
yeah, it reminds
Punpun.
you of the guy from 20th Century Boys. Yeah.
That's right.
So he can see the god of poop, but he lies about it. I think in order to comfort Seki.
Yep. That makes sense to his characters. Like he always wanted to make friends with everyone. Don't doesn't want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
So that's why I think he lies in order to be closer to Seki.
Yeah. It's interesting the way that chapter
And
starts.
yeah, and it's interesting for me as well that Seki is now afraid of fire because of what happened
Right.
when they was young.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Just being afraid of a little lighter,
Yeah, that's true.
kind of a stretch for me,
Hmm.
but I'm not a psychologist. I don't know. That I'm sure that sort of thing happens to people.
Hmm.
Like you have a traumatic experience at the beach, for example, and then you can't like
Can't
for some
sleep.
people washing their hands might
Oh,
not be possible anymore. I don't know.
oh, good for
You
them.
know.
So they don't, they can skip one step.
Well, they would probably just use sanitary wipes or something instead.
Oh,
But like
oh,
running water might be a problem for them. I just mean what I mean by that is like I don't understand how the human mind works. I'm sure there are cases like that with 7 billion people
mhm.
in the world. Um, who's to, he can be
But
afraid of fire if he wants. It's 2020. Do whatever you want.
yeah, but I mean like Seki has experienced trauma, and
Right.
trauma is like I think one of the theme that we will get to that later regarding Punpun uncle Yuji.
Oh boy.
But before that, we get to know that Punpun realized that his crush Aiko and Yaguchi are dating,
Right.
and he
Okay.
be
I have a
yeah,
question for you.
right.
Chapter 26. What is the real life photo? Punpun's in the classroom and his
Yep.
friends are all talking. They're kind of bad mouthing Aiko.
Yep.
Um,
I
and
think I
then
know I know what you're talking about.
yeah, they're like, isn't she going out with Yaguchi? And then the next panel is a weird looking Punpun next, like kind of inserted into or standing next to a real life photograph of a bunch of Japanese guys in a kneeling position facing away from the frame, and there's like a monk behind them with some sort of piece of what is it, a paddle, is it a bat, what is
Yep.
that photo? I googled extensively and couldn't figure it out.
All right. If you ask me, I have no idea. I have no idea why he put that in there. I have no idea what that what that represent.
I mean, I'm sure that to Japanese people it means something,
Oh,
but I mean, if that were the case, if it were like a kind of a widespread or somewhat widespread Japanese um,
um.
image,
All right.
that you would find some information about it on the English-speaking internet, and I couldn't.
All right, I do think that is a meditation. So like the three men meditate. The monk behind them just like if one of them doesn't concentrate enough, he gonna smack them with the with that
With the
thing.
Yeah, I've seen scenes like that in anime before. I can't think of the show off the top of my head. Maybe like Noragami, or
Yeah.
something like that. The
If
one where the girl is the shrine maiden, and there's like
mm,
Gingitsune. I don't know what it was, but
yep.
yeah, I've seen scenes like that before. But I don't
Um,
understand how that concept would tie into the discussion that was being had in Oyasumi Punpun.
have no idea. That's what I can't I can make head or tails.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So
Well, never mind. I brought it up, so I'll let it go.
right.
I mean, one thing that we can talk about that doesn't require any sort of like knowledge of Japanese iconography
Yep.
is when Aiko is being badmouthed by his classmates, he laughs along,
Yep.
like
And then
reluctantly.
yep, and then he feel bad himself about that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And he continues to feel terrible about his whole situation, even as the chapter becomes more focused on Uncle Yuichi.
Yep.
Like we see, whenever we get a glimpse of Punpun during those later chapters, it's always him in his room saying to himself over and over, "Curse you, curse you, curse you, curse you,"
Yep.
cursing himself. You know,
That's
for
really sad
being
of him.
yeah. Well, he's a really sad guy
Yeah, I
in a
know.
really sad manga.
Um,
Um,
I I I think I can feel for his feeling when like he is stuck up Aiko for 2 years.
wait,
Just
you can relate to that?
no. I mean the
Hello,
feel
police.
and then recognize that Aiko is dating someone, feeling really close about that,
Mhm.
and then hoping that like it was the other guy who was a bad influence for Aiko. I mean, like the whole progress that he has was really sad.
Yeah, when he's trying to create some sort of rationale for why they're together, and he's like, "Oh yes, well obviously he's she's in an abusive relationship, and he's forcing her to stay
Yep.
with him and all that stuff." But then he gets to know,
Yaguchi.
Yaguchi as they walk home to school together in that one chapter, 27, I think.
Yep.
And Punpun is like, he still loved Aiko, but he also liked Yaguchi a little bit too.
Yep.
How could you, I mean, he's just like a regular guy. How could you not? How could you not like him a little bit?
I just like the way the show, like the manga tales in that scenes.
Mhm.
It I think Yaguchi is a really likable person.
To
He
me, he seems like the main character of a manga,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I think that's actually part of his design is that he's meant to represent the sort of issues that protagonists in manga series and anime and just stories in general often have. Like, oh man, I got this girl that I really like, but I'm also doing this other thing. How do I balance the two?
Yeah.
Should that even be a consideration, or should I think of them separately? But Punpun is like, yeah, that's cool and all, but we're dealing with some real shit over here.
Yeah.
So Yaguchi's not the main guy. Instead, it's Birdman. And
That's true.
like Birdman is, he gets to know Yaguchi. He likes him, but in the end, they're set at odds because the
Yep.
Aiko is dividing them.
Yep. I think that's just sad for Yaguchi because he will end up losing everything.
Right, the way that he set it up in his mind.
Yep.
If I succeed in one, I will succeed with the other.
Yep.
I see people do that in anime a lot. Like, if
I-
if I pass the entrance exam, then I'll tell my girlfriend that I want to marry her, or I don't know, something like that.
I think that's just the mindset of Japan society. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like when people they wear the headbands saying like #1 or
Yeah.
well, ultimate victory. You know, just weird sort of stuff
Yeah.
that they do like
I
that while you see them studying in their room, and then they're so like results oriented.
I think it's more like they set a goal for themselves. If they can achieve that goal, then they are allowed to like do what they want to do. So
Yeah. I
yes,
can't. I
it
try to
just
do
this
that.
kind of
And
stuff.
sorry, go ahead. Say that one more time.
No. Yeah, I'm done with that. Keep
Okay.
going.
I was just gonna be narcissistic and talk about myself for a second.
Yep.
Um, I try to do that. I try to think to myself, okay, if I'm able, like, if at work today, I'm able to, I don't know, I can't, I can't think of an example. But if I'm able to do X, you know,
Yep.
if I'm able to get all my work done today, you know, then I will allow myself like 30 minutes of doing something that I want to do. Like when I get home, I'll put off doing whatever extra work I have to do for like 30 minutes and just like, I don't know, chill out and watch some stupid video or something. I try to set those sorts of goals for myself, and it doesn't work. So my problem is just that I'm not Japanese. I can't do it. I'm an American, and I just want everything, given to me easily, I guess.
All right.
We don't work hard over here. We just have too much money. Everybody has too much money, and it's too easy. We're
But the
pieces
thing,
of shit.
yep.
I'm
But
done.
the thing is, Aiko reaction when she hear about Punpun, I I think I think that she still have like a strong feeling to Punpun, and that I think
Does she?
upset Yaguchi. I don't know like what you make of her reaction.
Right. I mean, yeah. You've skipped ahead to chapter, which is fine. You've skipped ahead kind of to chapter 29 when
Is it?
Aiko. There's the whole scene between Aiko and Yaguchi where he's like trying to hold her hand or comfort her in some way, and then she like pulls away from him.
Oh,
You know, she's crying, and she sees Punpun and then like walks right by him. I think
yep,
is how that
yep,
scene was
yep.
structured.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then Yaguchi in chapter 30 right after that is like, are you the one,
Yep,
Onodera, because that's what he's calling him by his new last name. Are you
yep.
the one, Onodera, who she's still in love with, or still likes?
But yeah, I think that's it. What I love the most is when actually Punpun who tell him that he's like Aiko, he's like her a lot. I think that's what he said.
Yeah,
Like it's one of these little moments where we actually see Punpun talk at all.
right. In the square text
Yep,
box,
yep,
as
yep.
though it's like a cross between narration and him speaking in universe.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I really do like that technique a lot. As it's he's not participating in, because he appears different than all the other characters
Mm.
in terms of the way he's drawn and the way that we see him. In the same way, like he speaks differently. It's almost as though he's so isolated that he's speaking to himself,
Right. Right.
which is why we don't see the normal speech bubbles.
Yep.
But yeah, he did. I think if you really do break it down, that is something that he did say.
Mm.
So he does kind of stake a claim to Aiko a little bit, I guess. He stands up. He wasn't able to stand up for her when his friends were talking crap about her.
Mm.
But when it comes to his relationship with her and the feelings that he does still have for her, I mean, it's weird for me to even say that because they're all still in middle school. But yeah, he's willing to put his neck out there a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think even one of the reasons that he's able to do that is because he does kind of like Yaguchi.
Yep.
He feels like Yaguchi is somebody who he could say that to, I guess.
Right.
And he couldn't to his friends in class or to the people who he calls his friends.
Mhm.
But he sees that Yagachi is torn up about this. Between badminton not being the best and Komatsu kind of taking his place as the number one in the club, and then things aren't going too well with Aiko. Like, he sees that Yagachi is honest and open, and I think that probably inspires him a little bit to be the same.
And I think it's just sad the way that both of them, Punpun and Yaguchi, see the sadness in Aiko expression.
Yeah.
Like when I think of Aiko, I see the sadness in her as well. So that really sad. Like, the whole thing, their whole relationship are really sad.
Yeah, Aiko has a sad life.
Yeah, true.
And her friends know about the fact that she's in this cult, or that her family is part of it. I think one of the girls mentions in that same classroom scene that's her situation. So I'm sure that will continue to become a factor. Like, you said recently that you watched Welcome to the NHK, and Sato gets involved in a cult.
That's right.
And I have 100% faith that Punpun is going to go in a similar direction. Like, there's no reason to. You could have given her some other terrible living situation or tragic backstory when designing this character, Aiko's character, but instead you gave her this, and I'm sure there's going to be some sort of plot involvement,
right.
there in the future.
All right. I think let's move on to my favorite part of the volumes.
Yeah.
Yuichi and the girl Midori.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I just Midori is just adorable. Like, she tried.
Oh no!
But she tried her best in order to ask Yuichi out, and she tried.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
right,
yes, for sure. When I said "oh no," I was thinking about the pottery girl.
All right. No,
I was
not her. No.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Not yet,
Midori is, yeah, she's nice.
Yeah, she's nice. She tried her best to get closer to Yuichi, in which Yuichi actually freaked out. And we start to see why as Yuichi tell about his past of 5 years ago regarding that girl. What is that girl named?
Did I write it down? I believe that I did.
She only had a family name as far as I got.
Okay, yeah. Hold, maybe the reason I didn't write it down is because we haven't gotten it yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So her family name is Oike.
Oike, like Oike, maybe.
Oike. Yep. Oike.
Okay. Should we just call her that?
Yep. Let's just call her that.
Yeah, but before we get to her, she's really nice. She's just a normal girl.
Right.
She went to school for nursing, but then she had doubts about her job and probably herself, as people do. It's very human.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like, she is so recognizably human, and Yuichi doesn't. He sees himself as like the scum of the earth.
Yep.
And he sees human beings as the scum of the earth.
Yep.
So he has like terrible neuroses, and I feel like I'll just go ahead and say mental illness probably runs in Punpun's family. His mom is unbalanced.
Right.
And Yuichi, like, people don't think the way that he thinks, without there being something going on with them. He's not neurotypical. Like, it's fine to be cynical or to like think deeply about the state of the world and the human condition, and to like despair over that, I guess. But the way that he does it is like, when he says the house that I live in is just a box where I hide from society. That's just not a normal thing to say.
Yeah. But when we found out about his past, 5 years ago, like when he was 27, 28, he was really normal. It's just like
Was he?
he was alright. He was kind of normal. Like
Well, he was
he
holding a
almost,
job at least.
yeah. He always have that. I think he always have that like thought, but he still function like a normal person. He still have like a house, a girlfriend, a job. It's just
Right.
like one that particular trauma that make him the way he is now.
Yeah. Well,
So
trauma. I don't
yep.
know. Like we haven't seen the outcome of it yet, but I feel like I
I
know. I
yeah
don't know. I like this isn't trauma that's being visited upon him out of nowhere. Like it's not some freak accident. He's about to get into some shit.
yep yep. A
Uh,
16 years old.
yeah. Which,
Shit.
I don't know what the age of consent is in Japan. It's probably 16 or
We went through that before. That
I think we probably did, yeah.
13.
Different prefectures have different,
Yeah,
laws
that's
probably.
true.
But regardless, let's put age aside for a second. This
Right.
she's too young. She's he's I think 28 at this point. She's 16. That's only a little bit over half his age.
Yep.
She recently went through an abortion
Yep.
after her boyfriend got her pregnant. Her relationship with her mother is abusive.
Yep.
Like if he touches this girl, he is scum.
I know, but the thing is like he also realized that he have a sexual desire for her.
Yeah.
So that already is that I mean like even though that he doesn't make any move yet, it hit the intention that make him a scum already.
You're saying that the scene where they're doing the pottery together and he gets a boner.
Right. Yep.
You're saying that makes him a scumbag?
That make it in intention impure
Impure. Yeah.
already. So yes.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say no.
Alright.
She's 16. I mean the age of consent here in America, I think it's different from state to state, but generally people think 18.
18.
You don't touch a girl who's under 18.
Right.
But I don't know. In this situation, he's standing behind her. They're working on the pottery wheel. So their hands are in close proximity. She's the girl's very well built. If you catch my drift.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong about getting an erection in that situation.
Right.
She's a young woman who's clearly pretty far along in the maturation process, like physically.
Alright. Did you look at his eyes?
Yeah, the laser beams, dude. I love that panel. I love all the ways where that Punpun depicts like sexual desire and like sexual confusion, like
Right.
all those weird scenes where it's like cells.
Yep.
If you know what I'm talking about, like whenever Punpun is like conflating his crush on Aiko and like the scenes that the pictures that he's seen in magazines and stuff.
Yep.
You get those pictures of like cell walls with little with cells inside, like close up microscopic views of them.
Right.
Like there's something kind of unsettling about it, but also like perhaps they're biologically accurate. I don't know, but I love them. Like just the feeling that they give off, I think is great because it adds to Punpun's sense of like I don't know, just sexual confusion. I'll use the phrase again.
Yep.
It's weird. It's unsettling. It's like kind of raw,
But it
So
worked.
that's great. The laser beams were great. But yeah, like do you remember when After the Rain was airing? We would sometimes have discussions about like I always wanted the show to get a little more sexual than it did. And I don't feel uncomfortable saying that because I mean, where am I going with this? Why is that?
I'm waiting for the punchline now. Go
No,
on.
it's not a joke. Like
Alright. No.
I don't know how I'm gonna dig myself out of this hole.
I'm
But
waiting.
like I don't know. I think that media, I don't know, anime, manga, literature. I guess I'll say literature because that's where a lot of this stuff is actually expressed. Um, is a place to see that sort of stuff happen.
Mhm.
And it can really be explored without harming anyone.
Yep.
Now obviously there's a certain age that I won't go under, like, 16. The idea of an older man and a younger girl, like someone who is 16, and obviously the girl needs to have, she needs to have completed puberty. Um, and I think it's clear. I think Punpun makes it clear that this girl has.
How can you say that though? 16 is like the age of developing, so we cannot say for sure for one thing.
Well, when are women ready to have children?
Uh, well,
By 16 for sure, right?
yeah, but when women ready to have children, I think 12 they can be able
Oh,
to conceive.
gross.
That's
I
the
mean,
point, right?
I think you do have to draw a comparison between the way that adult women look and the way that, let's say, for example, a 16-year-old girl looks. If
I
it's clear that she's been through puberty and the body, I guess the body type is similar, then telling a story about that, I'm okay with.
I
What
all
what
right.
makes this situation terrible and what makes him actual scum is what we're going to see in the next volume. I
Right.
assume when he actually acts on it, that is disgusting.
Yep.
And even
Um.
like when we were watching After the Rain, I did not want there to be like, you know, I
Yep.
didn't want it to get full on, graphic or anything like that.
I don't
But
think in regard to After the Rain, um, that is like a touching issues, a very sensitive issues regarding how what his name
Kondo,
Kondo um, react to
Akira.
Akira affections. So I think the show got away with that because um, Kondo everything that he think about her is about youth, about like remembering his past
Yeah, I mean,
and the
yes, that's the
affection that they have together, but it's not something that like physical affection.
okay. Yeah, no, you're chickening out right now.
All
The
right,
show definitely made a point at a certain point, in midway through the series.
right,
The show definitely like made a point of expressing that he was like attracted to her.
all right, all right.
It did. Like, do you remember the two umbrellas falling on top of each other during the
Ye-
hugging scene?
Yeah, that is a true
That's
umbrella
pretty clear. That's
for
pretty clear
Tom and
symbolism,
Jerry.
dude. And he's interesting in keeping that relationship going because she's hot.
All
I mean,
right.
I do think that by the end it expressed a clear connection between them as individuals, as human beings. Yes.
Mhm.
I think that without that, that sort of story becomes extremely skeevy, which is what we're going to see in Punpun, because Punpun is not After the Rain. Punpun's dark as fuck.
Yep.
But like just speaking more generally, like like the idea of finding a 16-year-old girl attractive and then just moving on. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
All right.
If you start to like pursue her in an inappropriate way, if you start to obsess over her, if you fixate on her,
Yep.
that's gross.
Yep.
But finding someone who is physically mature to be physically attractive, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
All right. Yep. I think the problem now is that she does want to have something with him.
Oh yeah, she definitely does.
So yeah, the door is open. So now let's see like how Yuji gonna react out of this. And I think based on like what he is now, that he so afraid of relationship, I think it did have like a big impact to him, whatever gonna happen.
Oh yeah, I mean because which chapter was it? Let me see here. Chapter 31. So they go on that karaoke date because Midori is like an airhead, and she shows up late, and then there was a restaurant reservation that she made for the next day instead
So
of that
adorable.
day.
I love her. I love her characters. So adorable.
Well, I mean, what if she was a really cute 16-year-old?
If I see someone like that in real life, I think I'm gonna fall for her. Midori, not the 16 years old girl.
What if she was like that when she was 16 and she had, she was a nice looking girl, and you were 28? Would you allow yourself to think, boy, she's cute?
All right, that's easy. I'm gonna wait for 2 more years until she 18, and then,
no. See, that's the thing. Like, thinking that a 16-year-old is like, I don't know, finding her attractive, just briefly, and then moving on. That's fine. Finding her attractive enough to think to yourself, I'm going to wait. That I think actually crosses a line.
No, it's not.
Because it does, because you're waiting for that long period of time in order to just follow the letter of the law, in order to essentially reach a point where it's okay.
Yep. And I don't see what is wrong with that.
I do.
All right. How so?
Because then you're essentially thinking like, okay, this 16-year-old's good to go, but I guess I have to wait 2 years.
Yep.
No, you should just you see the girl, you appreciate that she's beautiful, or that she is attractive in some way, and you move on with your life, and you don't stay in contact with her. No, get the hell out. That's weird.
I get the hell out, but like 2 years later I check back.
No, but how are you doing that? How are you keeping tabs? Social media?
Maybe yes. That just depend on the on the connection with her. But
gross.
That impossible.
Okay.
And I don't see anything gross about that.
All right, I do. We have different values.
All right. So
what was I saying? Okay, yes. Chapter 31. Sorry,
Yep.
You were saying something.
I just mean the listener here gonna see like our point, and
no one is listening to this.
Yep.
and thank God for that, honestly.
Or you can just cut the entire conversation about this out.
Just delete this episode from existence.
Yep. You were saying something.
Yeah. So the reason I brought up chapter 31 and the whole karaoke date is because that's when, at the very end of that chapter, he says he's thinking to himself about the fact that Midori is coming on to him. And he says, I have to go to the bathroom or something like that. And then he's thinking to himself in the bathroom, don't forget your regret from that time. At that point, we don't know what he means. But then the series quickly moves into the flashback with Oike. So yes, it's clear that, like, as you were saying, the reason I brought that up is because you said he's got some sort of trauma that he's dealing with. I wouldn't really use that word. Like, he put himself in this situation.
That's
the situation that we're seeing now with Oike.
Well, I think that is the reason why, because he put himself into that situation that he feel himself like a scum right now. Yeah, and that I think he also has a very dark worldview. Yeah, that's right.
And I think he probably had that before. Before he met Oike. Like
one thing that I forgot to mention that I'm gonna mention now is that it was the girl who tell him about the about calling the god, the hello things, and that when he told Punpun, and then apparently he forgot about that, and Punpun still doing that even now. I just love all the connection between these.
Yeah. Oh, I remembered that connection, but I didn't remember the fact that he had forgotten.
I remember now that Punpun mentioned to him. He even like tinker hoy. What does that mean? In one panel.
I guess maybe he blocked it out.
Yep, he blocked it out.
But now he's remembering.
Right. Because
this new girl is expressing interest in him, and he feels like any I don't know, any relationship that he could have with some sort of woman is tainted from the get-go.
Yep. That's right. And I think Midori is really straightforward of her feeling. Like she actively pursued getting closer to Yuji.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I mean,
that.
it's pretty straightforward. I mean, she does play a little bit of a game with the, 1 million yen. That's the bill for our date.
All right.
Until you tell me the reason you won't touch me, or the reason
Yep.
you don't want to be with me,
Yep.
but that's fine. Whatever. She does still seem to be a normal person at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if she was really messed up too.
Well,
We learn about it in volume 6 or something.
well, if one thing I learned about reading Punpun the manga is that like almost like every characters in Punpun are messed up.
Yeah.
Uh,
No one's safe.
yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out that Midori is having her dark past or anything.
Yeah. I mean, Oike certainly has a dark past. At the age of
Yep.
16, she has a dark past. Her mother
Right.
ties her up
Yeah, that's right.
because of what
Ooh.
we know what happened with her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, whatever the case may be.
Yes, she just wanted to protect her from outsiders. So lock her
Yeah.
up,
Tie her up.
tie her up.
It would be one thing if she got a yeah. No, it's fine, but like it would be one thing if the mom were to I don't know, like install some sort of lock system. Even that I think is pushing it, but it install some sort of system where she can't get out of the house. Like even like bars on the windows and stuff like that. Even that is not as insane as tying someone up with a piece of rope.
That's right. That's right.
That's abuse. That's abuse.
That's abuse.
Um, dude, and I can
And
I can hardly blame her for coming on to Yuichi.
to this guy, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, like she's probably lonely. She's just desperate for any sort of connection that she can make. And when he says, "Oh, I'm reading that book too," that might have been all it took to push her to try to steal this guy away from her mom. Maybe that's what she's doing in her mind because she says, "I'm sorry, my mom dragged me here. I know she's obsessed with you."
Yep.
That could be like that. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably the main factor.
I
This is a revenge that she's taking on her mom, probably.
I do think that all the characters in Punpun had one trait in common. That was they are all lonely people. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that this 16 years old girl feel lonely and she feel that she want to to be closer to someone
Yeah.
based on her situation at her house.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not going to end well.
Yep, it's not gonna end well. Like you said, like the whole poo things. It's not gonna end well for any characters.
Yeah, and we already see the seeds of that planted. Like even if we hadn't known about the fact that this is his flashback of regret and
Yep.
that it ties into his thing with Midori,
Right.
we see a panel of the more gifted pottery teacher
Oh,
who
right. Yep.
who Yuichi envies.
Yep.
We see him like looking through a window
Right.
in the school, whatever it is, the government building where this
Yep.
class is being taught. He's spying on them.
Right. Initially have one theory that maybe that guy is Yuji real face, but I don't think that's the case. I think that like two different people.
Yeah, no, he's a separate character, and I think
Right.
he's probably he's going to be the one who blows the whistle on the whole Yuichi and Oike thing.
Wow. Right.
And I mean, we know that guy, he's a little bit of a creep, most likely, because he's talking about the fact that all these works of art that he's made are like worthless, and it's only the process of making them, of them being formed, that is beautiful. And that honestly, that sounds a little pedophilic.
Really? Because
Yeah.
all right. I do think it makes sense the way he talk. Doesn't it make me a lolicon.
No, no, no. I'm
I
not saying that at all.
all
I'm
right.
saying that from an artistic standpoint, sure. Like the creation is the beautiful part of the process, and the
Mhm.
finished product when like your audience projects all their own shit onto it and they
Mhm.
interpret it in their own way. I can see that being like to an artist that might be defilement. You know,
Right.
like
Yep.
it was only when I was making it and it was just mine that it was
Yep.
pure. But
I
in
yep.
this context, in the context of him being involved in this story,
Mhm.
I think that guy is. I think
Well,
his dialogue was intended to mean something a little bit more.
it's it actually kind of makes sense. Cool.
What do you mean?
Like the way you talk about his characters.
Oh,
Um.
yeah.
Well.
I don't think any dialogue in this series is like incidental. You know,
Right. Yep.
because the series is so concerned with what's going on in people's minds that I think it uses all of its dialogue in order to clue us in.
Yep.
You know.
All right. All right. I think we nearly reached 2 hours here, so let's just wrap up.
Okay.
But again, Punpun, we have a lot to say about Punpun.
Yeah, and it was really just like the last 4 or 5 chapters of this volume out of 11 that I think had the most content for us to really get into, you know.
Yep.
But
It,
nonetheless, we managed to fill too much time.
it's gonna be raw. It's gonna be like psychological, like damage.
Yeah, we're
Twisted.
probably gonna end up depressed by the
Well,
time we get to the end, dude. I'm already depressed.
um, I'm signed up for this, so I'm okay, man.
That's right. You
All
know,
right.
we got ourselves into this mess,
Yep. No one to blame.
except ourselves.
That's right. All right.
Yeah, I'll be more prepared next time. I'll take more notes next time, and yeah.
Yep. We will see you back next week with more Punpun. And see the end of this. How everything gonna be more messier.
I'm scared.
All right. See ya, guys.
Bye bye.